Is your phone available to
Phone.
Yeah. Just
Video is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it is required for you, then you
No,
can
no, no.
use
It's not required for me.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm? Yeah, yeah. I'll sing. Yeah, I'll start. 11111 is my password. You're going to use camera, right? Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari 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 Jaya Gopicana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopicana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jagannatha, 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 Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra Mai, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. नाम संकीर्तन की जय, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरुदेव की. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, give me 1 minute. I'm having some trouble with the system. Somehow some problem with the
You
laptop.
have the laptop?
Huh? Sorry.
You have laptop?
No, no. You have a laptop?
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Some booting up is happening.
Maybe.
If you have it, yes. Okay. Hare Krishna. I'll manage the phone, Prabhu. Okay. So we'll start with Guru Pranam mantra. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gauravakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh yeah, you can keep it here. Okay, it's coming up. Okay, we'll continue. I'll try to take it from the phone. So if it comes up, you can leave it. Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. So, warm welcome to you for the Sunday program. I think Prabhu is question and answers allowed still? No, right? At the end? It's okay? Okay. So we can probably have a question and I would like to hear comments. Please share your realizations as well by the end of the class. So I'm trying to present this topic, as being presented by many senior Vaishnavas or Acharyas. So please forgive me if there is any offense, if there is any shortcomings. So you can go to slide 2. Okay. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 9th chapter and 2nd verse. So we will read the sloka and then we'll start from there. Rupam yad eda avabodha rasodayena. So you can probably repeating is allowed, Prabhu? Yeah. Rupam yad eda avabodha rasodayena. Shashvan nivritta tamasa sat anugrahaya. Adau grihitam avatara shataika bijam. Yanna bipadma bhavanad aham avirasam. Rupam, form. You can repeat. Rupam, form. Yat, which. Etat, that. Avabodha rasa, of your internal potency. Udayena, with the manifestation. Sashyat, forever. Nivrita, freed from. Tamasa, material contamination. Sat Anugrahaya, for the sake of devotees. Adav, original in the creative energy of matter. Grihitam, accepted. Avatara, of incarnations. Sata Eka Bijam, the root cause of hundreds. Yat, that which. Nabi Padma, the navel lotus flower. Bhavanath, from the home. Aham, myself. Avi Rasam, generated. Rasam, generated. Translation: the form which I see is eternally freed from material contamination and has advented to show mercy to the devotees as a manifestation of internal potency. This incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations, and I am born from the lotus flower grown from your navel home. So, this is what Brahma is, Brahma's description. Let's go to purport, Prabhu, next. We'll read the purport. The three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, Shiva, the executive heads of the three modes of material nature, passion, goodness, and ignorance, are all generated from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is described herein by Brahma. From the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, many Vishnu incarnations expand at different ages in the duration of the cosmic manifestation. They are expanded only for the transcendental happiness of the pure devotees. The incarnations of Vishnu who appear at different ages and times are never to be compared to the conditioned souls. The Vishnu Tattvas are not to be compared to deities like Brahma and Shiva, nor are they on the same level. Anyone who compares them is called a Pashandi or infidel. Tamasaha, mentioned herein, is the material nature and the spiritual nature as a completely separate existence from Tamaha. Therefore, spiritual nature is called Avabodha Rasa or Avarodha Rasa. Avarodha Rasa means that which completely nullifies. In the transcendence, there is no chance of material contact by any means. Brahma is the first living being, and therefore he mentions his birth from the lotus flower generated from the abdomen of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So this is the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so we'll go to slide 4, Prabhu. Okay, so this is a very nice verse. In fact, this entire chapter is very nice and very important as well, from specifically from our point of view, from our disciplic succession point of view, right? Because if you look at it, we can understand the mood of our Samstapaka Acharya, right? That is Brahma, right? We belong to the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So the Sampradaya starts from Brahma, and this entire chapter is about what is the mood of Brahma, how Brahma is submissive, and how he is, what exactly is the mood of Brahma, how he is starting the creation, right? So that we can see from the entire chapter, and from that perspective, it is also very important for us to meditate on what is the mood of the Acharya or the origin of our entire Sampradaya. Where does it come? Where it comes from? Right. So and Brahma expresses his mood through the prayers in this specific chapter, that is chapter 9. Right. This verse specifically talks about few things. We will look upon that today. Right. Some of the important things. So this verse is primarily about the description of the form of the Lord. Like while there are detailed description of the form of the Lord given in the previous chapter, right, where Lord Brahma, after trying to, he comes down from the lotus flower, bewildered about the darkness. After a millennium, he comes down and then he tries searching. He couldn't find. Finally, he starts meditating, and then Lord gives all the knowledge, right? And Lord reveals himself. When the Lord reveals himself, he is able to take darshan of the Lord, and the darshan is so magnanimous, so beautiful, that the Lord is lying in the white bed, serpent bed, and then he's bedded with so many ornaments, flower garlands, all the beautiful things, right? And Lord is being compared to a coral mountain, beautiful coral mountain, uh, you know, uh, the peaks, the summit, the peaks of the mountains, how it is, usually very, very glowing and effulgent, and the Lord with his own helmet, right, and all the ornaments, and with the Ananta. So the summit looks very glowing and effulgent. So there is various descriptions about the external appearance of the Lord is given by Brahma, which is very beautiful in previous verse. Right now, in this verse, Brahma is trying to give some of the features of the Lord's form, and he is trying to compare it against where his origin is. Right, that is where we are coming to in this particular verse. So there are three. So the form is the main, aspect of this verse. While the form, there are three key subjects or elements which is given by Brahma here, right? So the first is avabodha rasodayena, right? Manifestation of internal potency. So the form of the Lord is a manifestation of the internal potency of the Lord. So that's the first important subject or element. The second element is nivritta tamasaha, which is freed from material contamination. The body of the Lord, the form of the Lord, is totally free from the material contamination. This is the second subject or aspect. Third is Adav, so origin of many other incarnations. And Brahma specifically refers this incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations, which means Brahma also clearly defines a distinction between the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, right, which is Krishna, and this form of the Lord. He is also trying to, because if you see in Brahma Samhita, Brahma clearly says Ishvara Parama Krishna, right? Sachidananda Vigraha. Here, Brahma also refers that in the translation, if you see, Prabhupada is given that this incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations. So that is all. That vision is also given to Brahma. So in the previous chapter, in the purport, Prabhupada writes, after getting this verse, the entire vision of the Lord, then Brahma compiles Brahma Samhita, right? So thus these are the three key elements that we will be looking at, and these three key elements, why Lord appears, right, in such an incarnation and various incarnations, and the Lord's form which is freed from material contamination, and all these things. Of course, we all know that Lord is a supreme enjoyer. So Lord is full of bliss, and he creates through his own energy. He's completely satisfied in himself, right? And see, so he enjoys, and along with that, Brahma is also saying that it is actually to show mercy to his devotees. So that is a second aspect, which, or the outcome or the purpose of these three aspects, Brahma explains, is to show the mercy to the devotees. These are the three, and the fourth element, which is explained by Brahma. And of course, the last element I have not included here. We'll look into that later, where Brahma says, I also appear from your navel, right? So these are the three and four elements that we will look today. Okay. So we'll go to slide 5, Prabhu. Okay, the one before it. So now we will look into the first subject, which is avabodha rasodayena. So manifestation of the internal potency of the Lord. So Brahma says here the form of the Lord is manifested from the internal potency. So we'll try to understand it a little bit. You can go to next slide, Prabhu, slide 6. So there is this nice verse from Vishnu Puran. It is explained that we will quickly read this. Eka desha stita shaknir jyotsna vistarini yata parasya brahmana shakti statedam akhilam jagat. The fire exists in one place and expands its light and heat everywhere. Similarly, the omnipotent Lord is situated in his eternal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, but he expands himself both in the material and the spiritual worlds. by his various potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividdaiva Shutaye, Svetashwara Upanishad. His energies are innumerable and immeasurable. So that is what Vishnu Puran says. So why I quoted this verse is basically to understand that the potencies of the Lord is immeasurable and innumerable, right? And Brahma specifically mentions about the internal potency of the Lord. Okay, so we can go to slide 7, Prabhu. But the internal potency of the Lord primarily can be grouped into, or probably the potency of the Lord's, where it is mentioned innumerable and immeasurable, right? But they can be grouped into three main categories. They are Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Maya Shakti. Chit Shakti is the internal potency of the Lord, spiritual potency of the Lord, which is Radharani herself, right? Srimati Radharani herself. And Jiva Shakti or Kshetrajna, which is the marginal potency or the Jivatmas. And next is the Maya Shakti, the external potency of the Lord or the illusory energy. Right? These are the three primary categories of the potency of the Lords that can be grouped. Right? So slide 8, Prabhu. Next. Yeah. So I've placed a picture of a magnet here. If you see, the magnet has two poles, right? A south and a north pole. And if you see the south and the north pole, even if it is part of one single magnet, right, it will not attract the same element. Let's say a particle of an ion, right, it cannot be attracted at the same time to both south pole and the north pole. It will either get attracted to a south pole or a north pole, right? So similarly, you can go to the next one, Prabhu. Similarly, if you see, the Chit Shakti and the Maya Shakti are like two different poles, right, of the Lord. And the marginal energy, the Jivatmas, are like the elements which will get attracted to either of these Shaktis, right? There is no way that the same particle or the same Jivatma being attracted to both the energies at the same time, right? So either you be attracted to the internal potency of the Lord, right, or be attracted to the Maya Shakti of the Lord, right? And if you are the particle, if it is being attracted to both, it will not be constant. It will, if you see the magnet, right, it will keep wavering, right? It will go from here to there, and somehow it gets attracted to one place. So that's what we can understand from the potency of the Lord, right? We, being the marginal potency, we are actually in the situation where we are either being attracted to the north pole or to the south pole, right? There is no way that we can actually be in the middle and continue for a long time. That's what we understand from the energies of the Lord. So I just placed a picture so that visually we can understand where we are placed, right? And we'll come to the point where Brahma is referring to, right? Brahmadev. So we'll go to next slide, Prabhu. So the potency that which Brahma is referring here is Chit Shakti, right, of the Lord, and the same Chit Shakti, which is the internal potency of the Lord, right? Lord is referring to the internal potency, and the internal potency, I said, like, is Radharani, but then the internal potency primarily is Radharani, but it is divided into three different categories, right? Again, there are various divisions again, but the primary divisions are here, which is Hladini Shakti, which is the aspect of bliss. That is actually Srimati Radharani, right? The bliss potency of the Lord himself expands as Radharani to, for this aspect of the potency. And then there is Sandhini Shakti, which is energy which maintains eternal existence. Eternal existence means it's not only material existence, both spiritual existence as well as material existence. And Prabhupada explains in one of the purport that in material existence, only 1/4 of that energy is displayed by the Lord, but the 3/4 is actually displayed in the spiritual world. So that's how we also come into an conclusion that the spiritual world is 3/4 and then the material world is 1/4, right? And there are various other supporting aspects as well. So the Sandhini Shakti is the energy which is actually maintaining the eternal existence. And the last one is the Samvit Shakti, which is the knowledge or the cognizance. It is that in which Lord actually knows himself as well as he helps, makes himself to be known to others. So that is the Samvit Shakti. Right, but Brahma here refers specifically to the Sandhini Shakti, which is that is the internal potency of the Lord, which Brahma is referring to. From this Shakti is where the expansions happen. The first expansion being the Lord Balram, and then from Balram comes Sankarshana, and then Sankarshana, it is said from Sankarshana comes Narayana, and from Narayana comes another Sankarshana. From there comes the Mahavishnu, and from Mahavishnu comes Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu comes Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So that we have seen, right? So Prabhupada is also explaining in the purport that how Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu appears various incarnations, and Prabhupada also explains Shirodakshaya Vishnu is from there the expansions happen. I mean, Prabhupada explains that there is always a difference between Shirodakshaya Vishnu and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, which is little difficult to understand. Prabhupada explains that Shirodakshaya Vishnu actually resides in the Shweta Dvipa, right? And then the ocean, that Dvipa is very difficult to be crossed and to travel. So everybody, demigods, Brahma actually stays on the banks of that Dweep and actually prays. So one such prayer is the Brahma Samhita. So I also had an opportunity to talk about Sri Ranganath Swami temple in the last class, right? So there again, if you go to the temple, you can see how the Lord actually prays, and then Lord Brahma prays, and then he was given that deity, right? So this is the Shakti which is being referred here, right? Next slide, Prabhu. Slide 12. Okay. So we looked into the potency referred by Brahma. Now we will look into the next element, which is Nivritta Tamasaha, freed from material contamination. And we'll look into this aspect of it right now. So slide 13, Prabhu. Yes. So in Nectar of Devotion, there are 18 different types of material contaminations being explained. Right. These are the 18 types of contaminations which the Lord is free from, right? And how he is free from, there are two angles in which we can see, right? One angle is that the Lord is a creator, so the creator cannot be influenced spiritually, but in material world that is possible, right? But in spiritual world, spiritually, creator cannot be influenced by his own creation, right? That is one aspect, right? The second aspect is, you can go to next slide, Prabhu. Similarly, it is explained, here you can find the second aspect of it being explained here in Nectar of Devotion, where Prabhupada has taken, there is reference to Vishnu Yamala Tantra. So in the Vishnu Yamala Tantra, it is explained that the Lord is free from material contamination because he is full in Satchit and Ananda. So we'll read it quickly. In the Vishnu Yamala Tantra, there is a statement that because the personality of Godhead and his expanded bodies are always full of knowledge. So the word full is very, very important. Full of knowledge, bliss and eternity, they are always free from the 18 kinds of material contaminations, illusions, so all those listed, whatever was listed is being explained here. So the key word is full, right? We can go to the next slide, Prabhu. So we all know that the first aspect of it is that the creator cannot be influenced by the creation, right? That is first aspect. The second aspect is because the Lord is always full of knowledge, bliss and eternity, while the living entities are also referred as Satchitananda, but Lord is also Satchitananda, right? But the difference is that we are one in quality but not in quantity, right? So by quantity Lord is full and we are not, right? That is why Lord is full and we are actually conditioned, right? Because we have our own limitations. The living entities have their own limitations. Because of the limitations, like for example the qualities, right? There are 64 qualities in total, which is the maximum, right? And it is explained that jivatmas can maximum achieve 50 qualities, and if you go beyond 50, it is you are coming to the level of Brahma, and then further to Lord Shiva, and then Vishnu tattvas, right? So so the even 50 itself is like demigods. Even demigods will have the maximum 50 qualities. So we are all conditioned, we are not full. But if you see, Lord is full in those 64 qualities. So the final 4 qualities, some of the qualities are like one who can attract everyone just by playing flute. So there are 4 such qualities which is explained. Those 4 qualities are there only in Krishna, not even in the Vishnu tattvas. The Vishnu tattvas have only 60 qualities. And then the Lord Shiva, I think 54 qualities. Lord Brahma, I think 50 qualities, because Lord Brahma also falls within the category of Jivas. So like that, Lord is completely full in all those qualities, right? So due to which he is freed completely from the material contamination. This is the second aspect of it. So like for example, it's as simple as that. If one understands completely the intensity of, like for example, there is a law, right? Like for example, Singapore, right? Compared between Singapore and India. So India also has various rules and regulations. Singapore also has various rules and regulations, but the law, rules and regulations are much more stricter in Singapore, and it is not as strict as that in India, right? So due to which we are very very cautious in terms of our dealings, right? Dealings in the public, dealings with the law, right? So because we have that knowledge in full, we are able to do that, right? And there are people who don't have that knowledge, and sometimes they have the knowledge but they are influenced by certain other aspects, due to which they break the law, and then they end up being punished for that, right? So the moment we have a full consciousness, full knowledge, right, of a specific law, we act accordingly, right? But that is the problem with us, which is when compared to the Lord. The Lord is full of knowledge. So our knowledge, whatever we have, is very very limited, right? We have have our own capacity. Similarly, when you look at our capacity against our peers, our people who are not people who are elder to us, other living entities, other species, right? There are various limitations. But if you see, the Lord is unlimited, right? There is no, Lord is full. So due to which he is completely freed from the material contamination. So these are the 2 aspects of the Lord, or the material, contamination, or we can look at. We can go to next slide, Prabhu. There is a nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, 24th chapter, 6th verse. So here it is explained that like the air passing through different types of atmosphere, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing sometimes as a human being and sometimes as a lower animal, is always transcendental. Because he is above the material modes of nature, he is unaffected by higher and lower forms. Right? So this is a very nice verse where it is explained that the Lord, appears, even though Lord appears in human form or in various other forms like Varahadev. Lord appeared as Varahadev, but the beauty of the Lord as Varahadev explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 2nd canto, right, is amazing, right? If you read the description, it is so detailed, so beautiful, that you will never feel, that is a species, what we see with our eyes, right, in this material world. So there's a huge difference between what we see in this material world as a boar and the Lord, right? So the Lord is so beautiful. So even the Lord appears in such a state, right? It is amazing. So it is not tinged by even a pinch of the material existence. You can realize that. So it is explained very nicely here that, like how a breeze, so Prabhupada explains in the purport, we can read the purport a little bit. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of the material nature. Therefore, being the supreme controller of the laws of nature, the Lord cannot be under the influence. An example given in this regard is that although the wind blows through many places, the air is not affected by the qualities of these places. Although the air sometimes carry the odor of a filthy place, the air has nothing to do with such a place. So the explanation given by example given here is that of an air, right? How an air travels from one place to another and it takes the order. If there is an order, nice scent of a flower, it also takes that. Similarly, there is an order on the way of something which is not so good. The air also carries that, but it doesn't change the quality of the air, or cannot be changed. Similarly, the air cannot be stopped, right? Nobody can control the air. So that is what is explained in comparison to the Supreme Lord. The Lord, even though he appears in any form, it doesn't matter. Lord is Lord, right? Lord is completely spiritual. So Mayavadis sometimes, they speculate, Lord, when Lord appeared, like for example, Lord appeared as Krishna, the same form, they said Lord appeared in the form of goodness, right? But the living entity is in the form of passion and ignorance, but Lord is actually in the form of goodness. So this is how they describe, which is not right? They are simply speculating. And Prabhupada says in the previous purport that we read, they are like mudas, right? Infidels. So one who does not understand that. We can go to the next verse, Prabhu. Slide 17. Okay, so the third element, so we've looked into the two elements right now. The third element that we look into is Adao, origin of many other incarnations. So while we have discussed in the past about the creation and how Lord expands himself as Vishnu, we're not going to go into detail of how various incarnation comes. So that has already been discussed in various chapters, various verses, right? But Brahma here refers here that this incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations. And in Canto, in the next verse also, Brahma says that any other expansion of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here Brahma explains that this incarnation is a source of various other incarnations. And in the next, I think, fourth verse, Brahma explains not only this, any incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is very auspicious. So Brahma clearly understands the difference. He has been given the knowledge of who the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what are the expansions. So all these knowledge have been given to Brahma. So that is very, very evident here. And why I am telling this point is that many of us, down south, at least down south, there is always confusion that whether Vishnu is an avatar of Krishna or Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu, right? We have all been taught that there are 10 avatars and one of them is Krishna. This statement here, this logical conclusion, along with Brahma Samhita, clearly gives us the indication that the Supreme Lord is Krishna, and from Krishna the expansions come in. Of course, in the creation part, it is very, very well explained, but Brahma authoritatively says in Brahma Samhita and in here that Krishna, right? And if you see in the first canto of Bhagavatam, when the sages ask the questions, and the answer given is that Krishna Katha to be discussed. It's not Vishnu Katha to be discussed. It's not any other kathas, right? It clearly explains Krishna Katha to be discussed. So these verses gives us the authority that Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Vishnu Tattvas are actually incarnations. Okay, we can go to the next one. Okay, now that we have seen the three elements, right, and we will also look into the fourth, which is the purpose of this entire. The explanation is that the Lord appears to show mercy to the devotees, right? We'll look into this aspect. While we have discussed in various verses, every Narsimha Chaturdashi we discuss about how Lord appeared, right? So, but that's all discussed. We will just quickly look into that. We can go to the next slide 19. Okay, there is this famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, 8th verse, where Krishna says to Arjuna, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So it's a very famous verse. So I mean, you might be wondering why I took such a very common verse. What I understand from this verse is, of course, we also all know that there is, the translation says, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, right? So this is what Krishna explains. When we have heard this verse, I mean, I have heard personally this verse even before association with ISKCON, right? In those days in Mahabharata, right? In Mahabharata, we used to read this verse, but the way in which this verse is projected in those days is in such a way that the importance of this verse lies in killing the miscreants, right? That is what is explained. Even if you see the intensity, the music, everything being displayed in those days in Mahabharata, it's like Krishna is helping Pandavas to kill the Kauravas, right? That is the way it is being projected. Now we understand, after coming to ISKCON, now we understand the significance of acharyas in disciplic succession, significance of a guru who can actually teach us the right way, the right knowledge, right? Now, in this verse, as simple as that, right? Like, for example, we understood the importance of number three in various places, right? If you see, Krishna says three things in various places, and when Narad Muni says kalau nasteva, kalau nasteva, kalau nasteva, three, right? So these are all, something that the acharyas can indicate us. It can actually extract from the scriptures and tell us. Similarly, here what is explained here is the order in which is being explained. It's not an order just like that given, right? The order is given according to the importance, right? The order which is given, if you see the order here, the first thing which is considered to be the most important aspect, which is to deliver the pious. Paritranaya sadhunam. Sadhu refers to devotees, right? So this aspect of it is never visible in the outside world. The outside world, which means killing the miscreant, right? That is the most and also very, very attracting factor, right? So people are attracted to violence, fight, thriller, and all these things more than the devotion and the soft aspect of it. Then the most important aspect, which is being explained here, and that aspect we wouldn't have got it if we are not part of ISKCON, or if you've not read the Prabhupada books, right? Otherwise, all other books gives us the second aspect of it, which is opposite, right? If Lord had to simply kill the miscreants, I mean, we have heard this many times. The Lord doesn't have to come by himself, or even Vishnu Tattvas also, right? So Lord can simply send Sudarshan Chakra or Garuda. Like, for example, you can go to next slide, Prabhu. Yeah, if you see, I've just placed the picture of Lord Narasimhadev. So Lord doesn't have to appear himself, right? If Lord has to kill the miscreant, Lord had to kill Hiranyakashipu. He doesn't have to appear from within the pillar. He appeared from within the pillar because Prahlad Maharaj said he is there within the pillar, right? So and it is said, I've heard that there are pastimes of Lord Narasimhadev coming as flying, right? Coming in various ways, and it happened in different kalpas, and every kalpa it is said that however Prahlad Maharaj says it, Lord appears like that, right? So the first aspect of it is very important. Lord appears just to please devotees, right? That aspect of it is being touched by Brahma also here. Brahma says, you have appeared here in this incarnation just to please the devotees, right? And Brahma is actually starting the creation, and he is not giving importance to the creation. Rather, Brahma did not say, you have appeared here to assist me in creation, right? Brahma said, you have appeared here just to please the devotees, because Brahma himself was so much pleased with the appearance. So you can go to the next slide, Prabhu. So same way the Gajendra, right? When Gajendra was in trouble, Lord could have just simply said Garuda, right? Garuda could have easily saved Gajendra, but Lord did not send Garuda. He appeared personally, right, and accepted the lotus flower which is offered by Gajendra. So Lord appears not to actually kill the miscreants, but actually to please the devotees and accept whatever is being offered. I mean, there was a question asked by Prabhu in the last class. I was talking about the weapons of the Lord. Right? There are 5 weapons which I showed: the conch, the sword, bow and arrow, etc. So somebody was asking, Lord is in Vaikuntha, why does he need weapons, right? So basically, weapons are also various devotees. They are offering service to the Lord, and the Lord is simply accepting those services. But actually, Lord doesn't need those weapons, right? So like that, Lord actually accepts services, reciprocates in various ways, however we offer, right? We can go to the next slide, Prabhu. Slide 20. I've also placed a nice picture of Lord Varahadev here. I thought I'll just quickly take an opportunity to talk about one South Indian temple. This temple, the name of this temple is Nitya Kalyana Perumal Temple. I don't know many of you, if any of you have visited this temple. It's a very, very beautiful temple, beautiful deity. Deity is probably 8-9 feet tall. Lord Varahadev. And if you see Bhudevi, which is Mother Earth, she's sitting on the lap of Lord Varahadev. And the pastime behind this particular temple is that Lord appeared there in response to a prayers of a Brahmana or a sage. The sage actually had 365 daughters, and Lord accepted. And the sage was the Brahmana was very worried how he is going to get all his daughters married. So he was praying to the Lord that please, why don't you marry my daughters? And the Lord accepted his prayers, and in that particular place, Lord accepted, saying that every day I will marry one daughter of yours. So that temple is very famous. That's why it's called as Nitya Kalyanam Perumal Temple, because every day Lord marries one daughter of the Brahmana. And every day it's a wedding, anniversary or a celebration in that particular temple. So Lord appears, there the pastime is related to how Lord is appearing there to please the devotee. Right? There are various pastimes. I just picked up one of the pastime. And if you see, Lord appears in the form of Varahadev. So how the Lord is, even though he is appearing in the form of Varahadev, he is considered to be transcendental, right? So I just picked up one temple. We thought I'll discuss about that. We can go to the next slide, Prabhu. And we already discussed Varahadev, how even if Lord is appearing in the form of a boar, the beauty of the Lord is explained in such detail that if you read, you will be attracted to the beauty of the Lord. So we can go to the next one, Prabhu. Okay. So we have now looked into the 4 elements, right? Finally, Brahma says, Aham Avirasham. I am born from the lotus flower grown from your navel. Right? This is what Brahma says. So Brahmadev talks about the form of the Lord, explains how it is manifested from the internal potency of the Lord, right? And how the appearance of the Lord or the form of the Lord is completely freed from material contamination, which is the origin, and the Lord, this form is the origin of everything, right? And appearance is actually to show the mercy to his devotees. And finally, he says, acknowledges his own position, saying that I also appear from your lotus navel, right? The lotus which is sprouting from your navel. So we'll go to slide 25, Prabhu. So there is this nice stotra which is being referred or quoted by Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 642, where Prabhupada refers to this stotra from Haya Shri Narayana Vyuhastava. Right? In this chapter is called Narayana Stotra. It is said here that Na Dharmam Kamam Artham Va Moksham Va Varadeshwara Prarthaye Tava Padabje Dasyam Evabhikamaye. So this is actually a prayer of Prahlad Maharaj, right? So it is said, my dear Lord, I do not wish to become a man of religion or a master of economic development or sense gratification, nor do I wish for liberation. Although I can have all these from you, the supreme bestower of benedictions, I do not pray for any of these. I simply pray that I may always be engaged as a servant of your lotus feet. So Narasimhadev offered Prahlad Maharaj all kinds of benedictions, but Prahlad Maharaj did not accept any of them, for he simply wanted to engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, a pure devotee wishes to be blessed like Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Prahlad, by being thus endowed with devotional service. This is a nice verse where one's position, similar to what Brahma is referring to, that I also appeared from your lotus feet, and then what Brahma says is he is ready to serve. He is completely surrendering. This particular verse is being explained, by Prabhupada. We'll go to next. Similarly, Hanuman, uh, from the same thing, Prabhupada is also quoting the prayers of Hanuman, saying that Bhava Bandha Chida Chide Tashyai Praryami na muktaye bhavan prabhur aham dasa iti yatra vilupyate. So I do not wish to take liberation or to merge in the Brahman effulgence, where the conception of being a servant of Lord is completely lost. So this is a prayer by Hanuman, where Hanuman says he wants to keep the position of the servant. He wants to be the servant of the Lord. That is the mood which Brahma also displays here, before he actually starts his creation. Right? We'll go to the next one, Prabhu. So uh, to conclude, we can say that this mood of Lord Brahma, where he glorifies the potency of the Lord, the Lord's qualities, right? The mercifulness of the Lord, how he says Lord is appearing to show mercy to the devotees, right? And the potency of the Lord, he appears from his internal potency. So this way he is glorifying the Lord, and he also is bringing up the constitutional position of the Lord, which is the Lord from the this form of the Lord. This is the origin of everything else. He is also making that particular position very clear to everyone, right? And then finally, he is also saying his own position. So first is like in this simple verse, right? Brahma tries to glorify the Lord, the Lord's potency, the mercy the Lord is showing, right? And the Lord's position, how he is the fountainhead, how he is the source of everything else, right? And then finally he says, okay, my position then is I am also appearing from you, right? And in the verses coming up, he clearly explains how he is ready to serve the Lord. Right? So similarly, what we can understand from this verse is that one has to identify the superiority and the supreme authority of the Lord, right? And one has to identify the constitutional position of the self and surrender and serve, right? These are the four aspects. This is something that we can understand from this particular verse. So I would like to conclude with this, right, where we try to understand how the Lord is supreme, and then where do we stand, and what is the mood of Brahma, right? How Brahma tries to identify himself, and then how he surrenders and serves, and he is ready to do the creation. So I would like to conclude with this. Hare Krishna. So we'll chant the prayers. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. श्रील प्रभुपाद की, श्री गुरु महाराज की, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की. Any questions, comments, Prabhus? Prabhu, would you like to add something? Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.